Horton and I want to cover a topic that we both feel very strong about. Now, authors should be separated from their works. Now, why would I say that? Well, authors are people, and people make mistakes, and people have their opinions, but should that influence you as far as judging what you have read in the past? And if you're passionate about a certain book or books by an author, and then you later on learn some detrimental information that could influence you and could change your outlook on some of their work that you've read and enjoyed. It could happen even if an author has been gone for a while. New information could be shed upon the world, and that could destroy the image that you have created of one of your favorite authors. So let's get into it. Where should I begin? Now, Horton and I have a bunch of books that we have pre-selected. We want to talk about the authors that wrote them and some of the issues that were concerning each author, but let's just pick one here. Why don't we go with the one they got last week? No Country for Old Men. How about we do Cormac McCarthy? So I just got the No Country for Old Men edition from Suntup. Very, very nice edition. I can feel the letterpress printing. My fingers are just aching to read this book. Very, very nice edition. But on the dust jacket, there's a little section here I want to read to you. Now, Cormac McCarthy passed on back in 23, but there's been allegations that have come out after his death. So I just want to read this. So it says right here that he left behind a profound literary legacy that reshaped the American novel. But there's been allegations from a certain person that he was involved in some very bad behavior involving an underage person. So if you want to look that up, you can look that up on your own. But am I going to take that novel now that I've read already in the past and I want to read a nice edition? Am I going to take that book and am I going to throw that away? I have to take this right here and I've got to burn it. I got to throw it away, throw it on the ground and burn it, because the author has been accused of, and even if it is true, I still want to read that book and I want to enjoy it and not let any news, any information regarding his choices influence that book. Now, another author that has been recently talked about controversial topics and bad behavior is, of course, Neil Gaiman. So this is a very nice edition of The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I think it's a beautiful book. I think it's a great story. And then all of a sudden, his accusations come out involving numerous people that were, let's just say they were of age. So, okay, so what's worse? There was one person that was throwing allegations out of Cormac McCarthy's behavior, and numerous women throwing out allegations of Gaiman. So who's better? Oh, McCarthy is a little bit better, so I can justify reading him, so I'll put him back on the shelf. And all the Neil Gaiman books that I have and I've enjoyed, I have to burn those and throw them away because the author is terrible. Oh, I gotta burn them. No, I'm gonna continue to read my Gaiman books throughout the years, and that's my choice. I'm not gonna let his choices influence my enjoyment of the work that he has written. And that's how it is. But, even Ray Bradbury, this is a nice edition. I should take it and throw it away, right? I got to take and toss all my Ray Bradbury books out. I got to burn them because Ray Bradbury cheated on his wife 2 different times, at least 2 different times. It's not as severe as these other allegations that were directed at Cormac McCarthy and Neil Gaiman. So I guess I could maybe put Bradbury back on the shelf, right? I guess I could put him back on here. I don't have to worry about burning him. Well, you know what? I'm going to enjoy his books. And yes, he did make mistakes, just like these other authors so far. But I'm not going to let that influence me. I'm not going to let... And yes, Bradbury has influenced me for a lot of good things. But I'm not going to let his actions negatively influence me. Now, how about another author that probably has not been talked about enough as far as their work that they've done? Ernest Hemingway. Now, this is, I guess you could maybe call it a novella. I don't know if it's long enough for a novel. The Old Man and the Sea. It's a very, very good story. It's about the struggle of a fisherman. Basically, I consider this to be one of my pick-me-ups when I'm going through a rough time, because it's about not giving up. It's about life being tough and a struggle. But what about the author? What about Ernest Hemingway, the man who wrote it? Well, he chose to leave the world by his own hand. And I could say, well, Ernest Hemingway, all of his books, I got to throw away. I got to burn his books too, because he made a very poor choice, and I don't support that. So I'm going to have to, no, this isn't some popularity contest. He made a poor choice, but I'm not going to let that influence the impact that his works have had on me. So I'm still going to enjoy his books, even though that information I didn't know about until recently. Who else should we talk about? I know. How about Karl Edward Wagner? Now, anybody that knows that name probably knows the Kane novels. I got all the Kane novels in the Centipede Press editions. They're very gorgeous books, and I'm going to go through and enjoy those. It's much better than reading old paperbacks. So, with that author, what did he do? Was he accused of anything? Did he have people throwing out allegations? No, he didn't. And no, he just had an addiction with alcohol and substances, and that did greatly affect his career. And I'm not going to let that influence me from enjoying those novels. I'm, again, separating the author from their work. But someone real controversial, H.P. Lovecraft. It's pretty blatant that he was racist. You can see it right in his stories, that his writing is racist. Let's just put it out to you, plain as day. Now, that means I should get rid of all my Lovecraft editions, right? I should burn those because they're bad. But I'm not going to let that influence me. I'm not going to let those writings or any of those messages that are contained in those stories influence me. I'm not going to let that shape who I am negatively. I've had books and stories affect me in positive ways that are beneficial, but any negativity that I can also pick up from these authors, I can also use that to just make sure that I avoid those issues in my own life, that I can not be that way because I know that that's wrong, whatever it could be. But with Lovecraft in particular, yes, I knew about that when I was reading some of the stories. I'm like, oh, that's wow, that's pretty bad. But again, I can still enjoy his work for what it brings as far as sheer horror and just fantastical scenarios, and it's what you make of it. I can enjoy his work even knowing kind of what he was or how he was as a person. But again, can you separate your artist, your author? That's what an author is. An author is an artist. They create these works that you can enjoy. You have to ask yourself, can you take and separate your author that you enjoy reading, but then you maybe know about choices that they've made